Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Hoops. Today, Kumbeno Memory and myself, Chris Foss, have a guest on. Have Jazz Johnson, point guard from Portland, Oregon, played at University of Portland. You can see the jerseys in the background hanging, and then finished up at University of Nevada. Just finished his third season playing in Italy, and actually just signed a contract for season number 4. Jazz, appreciate you jumping on with us, man. Welcome on.
I appreciate it, man. It's always love, man. You know, we all go way back, so anything I can do for y'all, is love.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, man, we'll talk about the newest one. I know you just signed. You just put pen to paper here a couple of weeks ago and signed the new contract. Talk to us about the situation out there with the team in Italy you jumping on with.
So I'm back in the same league, which is second division Italy, which I think a lot of people refer to it as like one of the best second divisions in the world. So there's some really talented players that play in there. So like this last year, I played against Russ Smith, Isaiah Briscoe, and that's just, two of the main ones. And then obviously you got the guys that been playing overseas that have good names. So yeah, same league, different team. Last year I was in Rimini. This year I'm in Rieti, which is an hour away from Rome. So I'm excited. It's all a new adventure.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. What's the prep been like? I know if these people who are watching follow you at all on social media, they see it a little bit, but talk to us kind of what the summer's been like getting ready for season number 4.
So this has been busy. I mean, I wake up. I wake up and I get to it, like on some, it's really cliche, but everybody uses it now, like the whole Mamba mentality. But like the way I look at the Mamba mentality, it's like Kobe did it. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't like a huge, I'm gonna talk about it. He just did it. So that's just what I've been on. So I wake up 6 a.m., 7 a.m., go do some cardio, finish in the sauna, come back home, whatever, rest, 30, 45 minutes, go do a pool workout or something, 2 hours, knock that out. Rest again for hour, maybe 2 hours, get in the gym, get the hoops in, do that, come back home, eat, and then go lift. And then you finish the lift, go in the sauna again, and you done. And then you just repeat that. I mean, obviously every day ain't pool workouts, but that's just a day. So I try to stay busy.
Man, I see it. That's been something that you've been on now for a while. It's not anything new to you. When did you get started kind of working at that level? Because obviously I think for most people, even in your spot, that's not a regular work capacity. But us knowing you, that's been kind of norm for you for a while. Kind of talk to us about how that started and how long that's been going for you.
Oh man, that started with my pops way, way, way back. Back in the days when he literally he told me like I'm not gonna train you unless you show me you love it. And I took that as, okay, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna just do it every day until Pops realized like I really do care about this. And he's seen it. And so, it started from way back then. I want to say as early as 7, 8 years old is when I really like dedicated myself to being like, okay, I like basketball. Like I'll play football and baseball and all that, but I love basketball. So my pops, he instilled that in me, I guess, with just a question. Like, just a simple challenge, like of just, you got to prove to me that you love it. And so from there, it was just, I guess that's how the love started, because I really did love it and I wanted to show him I did.
I remember seeing Jazz back in the day. Man, Leland, he hadn't hit me in a while. He hit me at the boot. Man, I'm telling you, you better keep your eye out for Jazz. You might have been in like 6th, 7th grade. I was like, well, man, come get him in the gym. I'm just telling you, you better watch out for Jazz. You better keep your eye out. And so we played at, I think, the Rose City Showcase. And then I had happened to be there earlier today for the younger players, and it was you guys playing. And it was like you had just got done, and he introduced you. I don't even remember, you had like a black with like a little orange letter jersey on.
With the gold, the black and gold.
Come on, man, I know what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
He brought you over to me. He was like, man, this is Jazz right here, kids. I'm telling you, right here, you're going to be something. Keep your eyes on Jazz. Just keep your eyes on you know your dad.
Yeah, no, that's one thing I'll say I appreciate so much is that, even though my dad's like my trainer and everything, and he's my father, but he like genuinely really cares about what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like he's really passionate about it and he goes hard for it. And it rubs people the wrong way naturally, but how can you be mad at a man that just wants to see his son do well? You know? And we've seen this story happen so many times, especially more now, you know, with the balls, with Peyton and Terry, you know what I'm saying? Like they work together with their dad in order to do it. And I think that's something special in itself.
100%. 100%. I mean, obviously, shoot, unpack it, the history. I don't know if your dad's ever told you, but him and Spree first used to play at Wallace Park. And so me and Daniel McKelvey and sometimes E-Man Kendrick, we would go play down at Wallace Park, and just randomly it was just dudes just talking like this, and Spree being long and dunking and stuff. And you always gravitate like, man, who are these dudes? Because we knew they weren't from around here, but they were like, we just kept showing up like we were real hoopers. So like, it don't matter if you're from China, Oakland, or Portland, real hoopers, like you said, I just keep going outside. We just kept showing up there, and then it'd be, oh, youngsters, man, y'all can play a little bit. It's like kept growing. And then it would be like, once he would say that, he'd give us a little tips, but then go out there and try to take our head off when we would play. But he saw we didn't ever back down. And then next thing you know, because Robert Key is playing down at the park and stuff too with all his crew, he builds a relationship with Rob Key. Shoot, when I go into my senior year, he brings on Leland as like an assistant coach. So he was there at Cleveland there for my senior year, being in our practice and stuff. And you got the on every team, like even where you're at professional, you got the head coaches, assistant coaches. Sometimes it might be like this consultant that comes in for a few weeks or something. They see the team in a different eye. They be like, yo, man, Johnson, come over here, man. Like, yo, man, you can really fucking handle the ball and stuff. And it's like sometimes when you be around, so that's what your dad was for me. Not as much as Rob Key, but like the head coach at our Beatty, he just didn't see some of the players for what they were. And your dad would come over and be like, nah, man, McKelvey, you could shoot it. Step out here, even though you're a big man, hit that mid-range jumper. Beans, man. He got the best handles in here. He was like, here, boom, to put these drills down or something. Like he would just come out and make statements like that was counter to what was the status quo. And so he spoke a lot of life into our games back then. And it wasn't like adult kid. You just looked at it as like hooper to hooper. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though he was a clear on adult and we was kids.
Yeah. No, he's always had like kind of a special talent for that. Like he can look at a kid pretty quickly or a couple of times and tell you if he's going to be something or not. He does that based on just like, personality and mannerisms, and he could tell if you work hard. Because I've seen him, I've watched him take projects and turn them into something. Even if it's just a outstanding individual in society, I've watched him completely change individuals through his work. You know what I'm saying? Just on the mental side alone.
Special relationship, man. Shoot, let's talk a little bit about when we had you at AAU.
Hey man,
talk about that experience.
You should feel kind of special, right? Because you the only coach I played for at AAU high school. I didn't play no AAU. Not a single one tournament, and it was with you.
Yeah, we got the ship.
Yeah, we got it done. You got I'm 1-1 in my AAU tournament, so I guess that's pretty good.
Nah, and I think that showed like, shoot, if just unpacking it, I mean, like you said, how people with your father's relationship, it might rub them the wrong way and different stuff. No matter our age or different stuff, like just man to man and hooper, whatever, we've always had this like respect about each other because he says what's on his mind, I say what's on my mind. It's not never been no nothing, but he know like we both know where we're coming from at the end of the day, whether we got to give ourselves a month apart or something like that. But that's like, even in that type of stuff, he still would always, he would say, he's like, man, I ain't letting none of these motherfuckers work on it except you, Beans. I'd be like, man, what is it about this motherfucker? We just got this connection, man.
Yeah. Well, that's Pops though, I love it. I love that about him. He's unapologetically him always. You know what I'm saying? And it's helped me because it's kept a lot of outside sources away. Like it could be bad influences. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like he's kept it all away. So he's done a pretty good job. I can't, you know, it is my dad, but I can't say he's done a bad job because things are pretty cool right now, you know.
Jazz,
But
how hard or challenging was that for you at the time? Like you're seeing everybody else that's your age or the top players or whatever that are playing AAU, and you're doing this totally different path. Was this something at that time? I can't even recall if we ever talked this. We're like, man, it's something that I wanted to do, and that just hadn't been a plan, or was it just like forget whatever everybody else is doing, even for just you? It was like I'll just fully submit into this plan and buy into that and go with it. Because obviously that's different than what 95% of kids who play high school basketball do.
yeah, right. I mean, I can tell you, I did want to play AAU for sure. I would see, you know, the EYBL circuits and everybody come home with new shoes and all this stuff, new gear, and just being able to travel and play against other people. But I don't know if it's something wrong with me, but like I always feel like I'm not good enough. And so even though I wasn't playing, I was just watching and always kind of feeling like I don't know if I'm not ready. You know what I'm saying? Like there's still more work to be done. Like I'm not ready yet. Because if I was to go out there, obviously you want to go out there in 17s on the big stage. Like, and for me, it really ain't no point. If you that good, you shouldn't be playing 15, 16s. You should just get right to it. And, you know, if you bump your head, you bump your head, but you got to get to it. That's the basketball everyone cares about. No, I'd watch everybody, and for sure I'd want to play. But from a young age, I wouldn't say like I consciously told myself this, but I was gonna follow, you know, the way my dad had for me. Because if you like, I'm a huge person on reflecting, and I would always just kind of think about as years go on. You just think about the last year or whatever, and he never had done anything where I felt like it had hurt me. You know what I'm saying? And even if on the outside it may seem like that, whatever hardship or however much harder it was for me because I didn't play AAU, I think it helped me because it gave me this chip, and it gave me this mentality that, well, the one thing I got, or one thing I gotta have, is I gotta work harder than you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always in the background. My name is not no flashy name or anything like that. I'm always in the background, but I'm in the background working as hard as I can.
For sure.
Man,
Obviously, Bean's a big proponent of kind of man doing AAU as needed, right? Not just because that's available. Bean's kind of some of your thoughts on it. I know Jazz's situation is a little bit different, just because I know when you came out with this, you had already committed to University of Portland.
Yeah.
Your stuff was already secured at that point, but man, just a different route that I think you showed you don't need to go that way in order to get to where you want to get to.
Nah, you don't. I mean, that's where I feel the power in it, because like I didn't need it. You know, I was using it as a tool, as a guide to see like, okay, what do I need to work on? You know, like that was supposed to be the plan in it. I mean, that's how we used it for as a youth. You know what I'm saying? Like we trained as kids a lot, train. And then we would do that 2-3 weeks and then play a tournament to see everything we were doing up until this point, now apply it to the game. You know what I'm saying? And you can't just do that training 3 days out of the week and then you play weekend. That's impossible for me to directly translate that when I've been only working on it for a week, you know? Like for me, bro, the spin move is something that's like pretty prominent in my game. And I promise you, when my dad taught it to me, I never used it in the game for 2 years. He must have like brought it to me like 3rd grade, 4th grade. And I wasn't confident enough to do it until like 6th grade. But I've been working on it so much, you know, and now it's a heavy part of what I do, you know. But that's just all like the mentality of just like, just do it, you know, reps, do it, get it in, you know.
Well, the learning process being the more prominent part of it, right? And then the
Right.
development, as opposed to just, man, could we go play games? Which by the time we did, you end up playing your cousin in the first set of games that we played. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and he, you know, and I ain't gonna lie, you know, I was nervous because him growing up, he was always his name's Colin Slater, so shout out my cousin Colin. He went to Long Beach and he was in Turkey last year. But he growing up, he was always like the top ranked kid, top sixth grader, top eighth grader. He would get invited to the Jordan camps and stuff. So he had the name, you know what I'm saying? And he had the work ethic and the name. I was the opposite. I had the work ethic with no name. And so it was just for me, that was like if that was my tournament, that was my test. I needed to see like, okay, if he's the one and I can get with him, I think I'm cool just training, you know, and testing as I go.
Man, I didn't even know like to add let's like a, you know, if this was a movie, to how much more depth that just added to the script. That because I'm just like, we're just going to a tournament in Sacramento. Hopefully we pay competitive teams, but because we're going to do it in front of college coaches. But on top of that, man, I was really excited to coach you, Jazz. Like if Foss can tell you and stuff, like you don't know, because this is all what I love. Like all this shit you're saying with the serious minded face and all that shit. I can cuss you out and then we can laugh like this and all that stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I can say, hey man, no, I need you to know the next 5 plays. They doing this, they're gonna trap that, they're gonna go 2-3 on the third possession. Like, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So 2-3, they're gonna be 2-3, y'all like man. And so just having you down there, then fuck, we got 2 monsters in the backcourt, you and Strick, like
Man.
fucking bulldog, pit bulls.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So shit, even like I can go deeper in this. I want to hear your thoughts on just playing on that team, but playing with Strick, playing with Deontay Strickland.
Oh man. So I'll start with Tay, because you know, growing up, we was always on the opposite sides because he was always ICP and I was always with pops and ball players, which I actually did play ICP a little bit, but then obviously we went off and did ball players. But we was always against each other. And me and Tay was always like this because we were kind of similar in like we was small and strong and fast and quick. And it was like meeting the same person almost. He just couldn't shoot as good. And to finally like be able to play with him, it was like for both of us, we always would talk about how much of a relief it was. Like I'm tired of playing against you. I'm tired of doing this with you. And now we can go do it to somebody else. So I mean, for me, that was the biggest thing with Tay because I mean, we got close during that little tournament too. Like that's when because we was always pinned up against each other, but then we just kind of like during that tournament was like, bro, like what is all that? It's really nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how your people you get really close to, you start off as maybe adversaries or whatever, but because you really see their mentality. But I mean, playing with that team, I, I learned a lot. I mean, I didn't play hella tournaments or nothing, but I learned a lot playing with you because you had the next level size on your team and everything like that. Like you tried to coach us in like a college way. And so that's what I really appreciated is like we didn't have like a 6'2" big man that you would have in Oregon. You know, you would find that in Oregon. We had bigs, we had dudes with bounce, we had guys that were designated shooters. You know what I'm saying? So it was all something that like that's when not when I realized, but that was for me kind of like the first time of having like a full like basketball team and kind of understanding how each piece can help rather than okay, I understand what this person can and can't do, this person can and can't do. Okay, Jazz, you make up for it now. You know what I'm saying? I could work on really figuring out the best ways for each person to be effective.
Love it.
But yeah.
I love it. Well, Jab, you hit on the piece kind of with high school being a little bit different. Man, take us back real quick. Senior year, Les Schwab, man, you set the tournament scoring record for stuff. You had 38 against Peninsula and Ja'Cory McLaughlin, who obviously was someone who kind of had a name, right? Someone who was going to Oregon State, and the next night had 44 against Montverde. Just, man, take us back to that week, kind of what you remember about it.
Man, that was because I mean, this all goes back to me not playing AAU. So like, I've always had this mentality of like the high school season, like the times I go out and play mean something. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have that next game mentality like a lot of kids that play AAU have. Like for me, every time I went out and played a game, it was like an opportunity because I wasn't out there much. And so knowing how stacked that year was, because I had played in it obviously my freshman year and my junior year, and obviously those were stacked. But now I'm the leader of the team with against the stacked lineup. You know, there was DeJounte Murray was in it, Ben Simmons and their whole group of pros, Jaylen Brown, Peyton. I mean, it was really a cold lineup of teams and players. And I remember telling my dad, like even before the tournament, right? Before the tournament even started, we was shooting up at LO. I played for LO. We was shooting at the little the middle school before the game. And whatever, we drive there. And before the tournament even starts, before we play our first game, I tell my dad, I said, some dudes is gonna get their scholarships taken. And the rest is what it was. I don't know if anybody got those scholarships taken, which they didn't, because I still went to Portland. But that was my mentality. It was like, this is my chance. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I was ever going to go somewhere in school, this is my chance. And I don't know. I guess the confidence helped, but that's how that went. You know, like you said, I had 38 with against Ja'Cory McLaughlin's team, 29 against Baby Boy's team, 44 Mount Verde, and then I think another 27 or 29 against Jesuit, who's always, you know, they've always been solid. You know what I'm saying, for a long time. I think Cam was on that team, Cam Parker. I don't even know if I still got the record though. I know it was like 144 points, 138 points in 4 games or something. It was like 35 a game or something like that. I don't know if it's been broken, but I did have the tournament scoring record for I don't know how long now.
Man, you had it. I still just remember the week of, man, people just coming in like there was a buzz about what you were doing. So I think to your point about man, kind of creating a name for yourself, nothing else, whether it was scholarship or just creating a name. I mean, that was there because of how you were going about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
No, I mean the Pops just did it like the old school way. Like it wasn't like, even when I was in high school, it was the whole social media part of hoop wasn't huge. Like for you to get a mixtape, you had to be cold to get a mixtape, like really good. And that's when it was only Ball is Life, Yay Area's Finest. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't all that. So the times you stepped out were the times that, you know what I'm saying, you had to get it in. That's how you earned your respect. And it's just like people were going to talk about what they seen you do the last time they seen you.
You make your own mixtape now.
Man, what? Man, no, it's a whole industry. It's a whole industry, and I'm not against it. It helps kids, you know what I'm saying? But it for sure does take away. It takes away, I think, from some of the purity of the game.
Well, and let's think about it like we're talking performance, and you want to go out there and perform and whatnot. But if you're looking over your shoulder because you know the film's there, or you don't really play as hard because you know if the film's there, I might get embarrassed. I mean, there's a lot of different factors than just saying, oh, this is bad for the kids or good. I think it's like a pie chart. Yeah, there is some positivity in there. We can, man, somebody came and filmed that, and that film went to here. Of course.
Right.
But, if we like really unpack it, because we're at a stage, it's not going to go backwards. But I think it's like saying, can I just be a coach just because I like basketball or something? I think that's a job. I'm going into a field here that I'm going to actually affect lives. It just seems like it's on the side, but now because you're coming into the ecosystem of basketball, the film person is now affecting lives. So now you got to have a moral compass and a character about yourself and understanding when you're dealing with young people, how is this helping them? Or is this just for $1? Or is this just for clout? And you talk about the purity of the game. I mean, the players are playing expecting that they're going to get recruiting.
Right.
But then if
you got to earn that.
You say that again?
You got to earn that. You're not, ain't nobody obligated to recruit you, you know? Just because you play don't mean they got to come see you or they got to pay attention to you. You got to give them a reason for them to pay attention or care.
How do they pay attention to you? What would you say are like the pillars that if you were playing right now, you would do, and they would make a college coach pay attention to you to earn some recruiting?
I mean, really, you don't even got to be the best player. Be the loudest, the one that communicates the most. The loudest, and that's something that I still try to work on. Person that plays defense, and you'll be surprised coaches care about, high fives and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you with your teammates? Does it seem like your teammates like you? You know what I'm saying? And then another thing is like leadership, like huddling guys up, dead balls, making sure everyone is on the same page, because that's all but I mean, these are all just like point guard stuff, you know what I'm saying? But anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. And none of this has to do with your ability to dribble or shoot or jump. None of it. It's all up here. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what coaches kind of look for as well. You know what I'm saying? Or that's what they want, because there's a ton of athletes. You know what I'm saying? They're everywhere. So you got to be different in some way, because you're not going to be the most athletic. There's always someone out there more athletic. So that's what I would say.
What do you do to set yourself apart now? Because it's a different type of earning. Instead of saying earning recruiting, you're playing that either it's going to earn security to stay on this particular team or earn additional opportunities for other professional organizations to bring you on. So what are the things that you're doing now to totally separate yourself?
Just I work harder than everyone. I personally feel I work harder than everyone else. And due to that preparation, though I always feel I'm not good enough, I'm also very confident in that I put in more than enough time that the production should show. And so I think that's what I try to set myself apart with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I work so much that there shouldn't be no reason this don't work. And if it don't work, well, let me just keep working, and eventually it's gonna work. And that's how my life has always been, and that's how it's worked out for me. Like, there's always peaks and valleys. Like, I've for sure been down. I haven't been the best. I've for sure have lost games. There's for sure I've lost battles against dudes, but a lot of dudes end up quitting. A lot of dudes don't end up making it to the next level. And I just tried my best to stay as consistent as possible and slowly climb that ladder.
Jazz, you said something
right with that light skin face. Beno, why you keep doing that, bro?
Man, I'm just like, I'm see what you stupid, man. This is like watching movies, fucking listening to music. I got a lot of different passions, but basketball is a deep passion. And also, I thought like we're gonna have Jazz on later on, but like really, Jazz, there's so much of your story I don't know, but also now I'm hearing all your story and how much I was like, damn, man, like I'm mesmerized. I want to learn so much more, that a person could be so around you or close, and I don't know as much, but you stand for so much that I value.
Well, I appreciate that. And I mean, it sucks that people don't know my story, kind of, in a way, but I feel there's also a cool little mystery about it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how my life has been. Just that little kid that's over in the corner just quietly working. That's how I am as a man now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say a whole lot or try to draw attention to myself. I'm just going to keep doing the same things I've been doing. And if we end up crossing paths and we cross paths and everything's cool, it's cool, I always come with love, always come with respect. So I don't know. I just be to myself. I don't know why I'm like that, but I like it this way.
Let your work stand out. And I want to touch on something you said earlier, which I appreciate your vulnerability, because you don't have to share that. That's just being authentic and who you are and genuine, saying the moments that you don't feel as confident. But I think what you're doing through your work ethic and your preparation, that is the exact answer to confidence. Is like, when you're in school, I do additional homework, I ask the teacher, I do all this extra stuff, and then we have a test, and like I'm going to perform well in the test because I did all the preparation prior, and you do that. I think that all whether it's doubts or whatever, different fears or stuff, anxiousness, you could call it. But at the end of the day, I know when that ball goes up and you start playing, it's just basketball.
Right.
And you have that level of confidence because of your preparation. And so I want to like try to make that answer clear for you that, man, you are confident. You're just human like all of us all, but man, and then your confidence has breeded such a high level of consistency. That's what every coach wants in America. Or,
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
especially over
world.
here.
My bad. The world, my bad. The
Yeah,
world.
we're
No,
not
I mean,
living
you
in
can
this
say it
thing
like
that just
that.
the
You can
United
say it
States.
like
The world, Craig.
that. For the world, Craig.
If you're enjoying the Let's Talk Hoops podcast, make sure to follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube for more content on recruiting, player development, team development, basketball IQ, and more at Hoop Dreams B-Ball and at Coach C. Foss. Now, back to the show. Man, Jazz, how much of your preparation do you feel like is based on film that you watch as well? Now, obviously, we've talked to stuff on the court, the conditioning, everything like that. Talk to us a little about how you approach watching film, though.
I mean, I do a lot of my watching film during season. So it's not like I come home and it's like we all sit down and like, okay, let's deep dive into your film, because we do that during the season. Like I could go 2-3 games, whatever. Okay, boom. Pop's got a good read of like what I guess the trends of where my game is right now, of how he sees me playing. And he'll go over the one game he wants to talk about to show me some things, and we'll deep dive into that. And and then he'll let me go another 2-3 games or whatever. So it's not like every single game, because obviously I got to do my own film of the other team. You know what I'm saying? My preparation for the other team myself. I mean, you do that with your team, but I've just always felt like in a team situation, they simply just can't do enough for you individually. So you got to take it upon yourself to do what you feel is needed to feel content with your preparation, So, but I will say that, again, the team stuff is not enough. For me, that's the bottom baseline, the stuff that you do with your team. It's the stuff you do on your own that will make you better. So, but yeah, film is a big thing. It's a big thing, whether it's looking at bad stuff, like, because I mean, everyone wants to watch your highlights. Everyone wants to see themselves do well. But obviously you got to be real with yourself and look at the bad stuff. Look at all the times you're walking around on the court. Look at all the times you're just standing straight up. Times where you simply just showing weakness in some way. You know what I'm saying? Not even like the obvious things like turnovers. You know what I'm saying? It's small things like that. But then there's even times where maybe mentally you're not in the best place with your game. And maybe you do got to go to a game where you were killing and just watch it. Watch the way your body's moving. Watch the bounce in your step. Watch how it flows. And that could, just seeing it could help a lot too.
Man, I remember doing that as a player right there, going through tough times from in high school, but especially when I was in junior college. I remember having to go back to a particular film or something like, man, why am I hooping like this? Like I'm in my head. And then you see a game where you play well, and it also might simplify some of the stuff you're doing. You might be, because as we grow in our game, the things that got us to where we're at, but you keep growing, sometimes now you divert to these other things you've added to your game and you forget what got you there. And that was one of the biggest things for me, is that I began to start learning how to shoot well. Well, now I'm not cutting and moving and doing some of these other things that I used to do naturally, because I got to stand outside the 3-point line and be ready when they swing it to me.
Right.
I think as a shooter, which you've been blowing in the nets up for a long time, that's something that you can steal from like Clay and Steph, but just any shooter, you have to be mindful of that. Am I just hanging out here because I'm going to hit 3 threes today? Or should I just keep taking my value around the court, moving where I'm a decoy probably most of the time until that opportunity comes when I shoot. But most people don't use the decoy, which happens most of the time. They just stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, who do you watch in addition to stuff of watching yourself? Like, who are guys that you study maybe in addition to you?
Off rip 2 or 3, Fred VanVleet, Jalen Brunson, and post knee injury Derrick Rose.
Damn.
Because obviously his game before that, I don't relate to at all. I can't really learn nothing from that. But after he got hurt and he came back in the floaters and the mid range game, yeah, and the pivots, all that stuff, yeah, that's what I watch.
Them first two
So,
dudes you named is two of my favorite damn players on the planet. Fred VanVleet and
cold.
Jalen Brunson. Shit, they play winning basketball.
Skilled, smart, and they don't got to be the fastest, quickest, but they know basketball. They know how to use the space on the court. They utilize negative space, and I mean, as a small guard myself, I love watching the stuff they do.
Highly talented. You know, Jalen Brunson coming out of Villanova, he's so good with the 2 feet. They got a whole 2-foot series. You guys should find it on YouTube that all those guys would do, but obviously you see he took the mastery of that to a different level. I just told a story about Fred VanVleet. I don't know if you remember that, Foss, when we were in Carmel, Indiana, and it was his senior year. They might have went to the Sweet 16 or something that year, and you know, I loved his game since the freshman year, and we're practicing with 16s, Kamaka and Marcus Tusahonis, AD, and all them, and in the corner pocket, I'm like, man, is that VanVleet's over there? Man, so as we're walking out after the shoot around, he's walking out of the workout too. I say, man, what's VanVleet? What's up, man? You doing your pre-draft workouts? Like, what's up? What you got? You got your workouts? He's like, yeah, I got a bunch of workouts planned. Like, what's the projections? He's like, I don't even care, man. If I got to come in the back door or whatever, like I'm ready. He's like, I think he said, actually, I don't even care. I don't think it would be better if I don't get drafted. And I just say, hey, man, I got a lot of respect for you, man. And I think you're gonna stick.
Yeah, I mean,
Give him
that's
a
all that
handshake and
mentality
walked
right
out.
there. Yep. That's that mentality of I'm going to just do the work and trust that that's going to lead me in the right direction. And I never even knew that story. I don't know that man, you know? And sometimes you end up finding commonalities about certain people, and that's what makes certain people good at what they do.
For sure. Jazz, you hit on being a little guard. What's some of the things as a little guard that man, you felt like, especially as you're climbing up in levels, that you've had to really put focus into to be able to have success?
One, just always proving that me being small doesn't mean anything like that. Like, and I mean like defensively, like, you know, everyone thinks, okay, I can get a switch, take them to the post, or we get a switch, okay, just a whole game plan thrown out the window, give it to the big man. So like my whole thing has just been like proving like it don't matter. I don't care how small I am. If I need to, I can guard all 5. You know, like, okay, if you shoot over me, whatever, but you're not gonna get nothing easy, no layups, nothing, you know. Really being creative below the rim. And I'm not saying all the jelly stuff and all the up in the air acrobatics. I'm talking like on the ground, like the 2 feet stuff we was talking about, floaters, pivots. And I mentioned it, using negative space, which means like obviously we all attack going towards the rim, but as you get closer to the rim, now there's more space behind you that you're gathering. You got to be able to use that space too to create separation. And then what else would I say for small guards? Your floater, obviously, and then I think for all small guards, like you got to be able to shoot. You have to, because if they can just funnel you to the rim, your life is just so much harder. You can be successful at it for sure. There's been dudes that do it, but I feel it puts so many more miles on your body, and naturally because we small, you gonna hit somebody, you gonna hit the ground. You know what I'm saying? You do that enough, it's gonna take its toll, you know.
It's going to wear you down. You don't want to keep having to do that. And I do think that that's mandatory. And shooting, man, it's like if you can build up your shot, like I think shooting is one of the easiest things in basketball to develop on. If I'm telling you, Jazz, we got to work on your shot, or we got to work on you guarding screens off the ball. You get what I'm saying?
You're gonna do shooting.
Yeah, but which one do you think is? Yeah, you just answered it. It's like fuck, man, shit. Jazz, you're supposed to trail. I'm like, damn, he curling you every time. Well, fuck, where my help? You know what I mean? Like, you could, we can get your shot better. That's simple. But these things that are more difficult,
that's the stuff people don't want to do.
And that's the boring stuff. And that's like, you had that mentality even when you were young to know to work on these things. But I think that when you are smaller, these are the areas you can get. Like we were one time talking with JD, I think at Portland State, and just going, understanding like, man, I already knew, like people look at you because you're getting 29, 44, like, man, Jazz really confident. He's like, nah, man, actually, like I got these thoughts. And JD's like, man, I always knew that if I didn't do it harder, I was already below people. It's like, I was the player in the year of the state saying that. But I
mean,
think
that's just being small. That's how we all feel.
Yeah, but I think also, man, like the true strength in somebody is when they recognize the weakness.
For sure.
Instead of like, nah, I'm cool, I got it, blah, 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 blah. And then that can, it's like a slingshot, like pull you back to understand the reality and fix it, and then shoot you forward. Most people working with that loose rubber band. You get what I'm saying? Because they don't want to look backwards at or inwards at what needs to happen. Those are hard. To hear how quickly and easily you speaking about this stuff tells me just like fuck basketball, where you're at in your life. Because this is the evolution of like how you keep growing and getting more enlightened, man. And you understand your place in this. I think it's very vital that you need to have your story be told more, because think of how many more people from our community and around the world could be inspired by your story.
No, you're right. And there's a lot more people that could relate to my story, because it's weird. I did everything the hard way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm showing the side that like you don't need all the extra. You don't need to be in an air conditioned gym. You don't need none of it, really. You know, I just tried my best to figure out ways to be better, me and my dad together. And I feel like there's more people like that than there is the 6'6" athletes or just the incredibly gifted people out there. You know what I'm saying? So like I worked for my gift. It wasn't like it was given to me. It wasn't like I came and I was just good at basketball. No, like I said from the beginning, even my dad saw, you got to show me that you want to be good. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's where it came from.
No, for sure. I'd say, man, the approach is the gift. Like basketball might be the talent, but your approach to stuff is the gift. Does that make sense? Like, man, how you're approaching things is different. Like, man, that was something that, like you said early, you were challenged with it, but that was the piece that was the automatic response is, okay, well, I know how to be able to approach a challenge or be able to approach something that I really want and be able to work for it, regardless what it is. If it happened to be basketball, because that was the challenge that was put in front of you. But then the talent that was almost like accumulated was basketball, right? Like it was a skill that was developed. And now like it was something like you're talking about, like a long athlete. You're born with that. Like that's not something that you're having to work towards being able to get, right?
No, I mean was literally God given. So I didn't get none of that. I didn't get the height. I didn't get the speed. I didn't get the quickness. Like I've literally, I grew up, I grew up a short, fat kid. So it was like I literally had to work for everything, jumper, dribbling, keeping my body in a whatever shape I was in back then, in enough shape to be able to do what I was doing, and just everything about it, all while still, I think the most important thing to bring it all around is still got to be a stand-up individual, and you got to be respectful. And you got to do the school part too. You got to do the school part. because all the other stuff don't matter. If people don't respect you, don't respect who you are as a person, you're not a stand-up individual, and you don't be full circle with the school part. None of it matters if you don't do that.
Yeah, building these relationships, man. This shit's powerful, Jazz, man. Like you need to be, we got to get you talking more. We want to have you on for another conversation too, to just like to unpack more about this. Like if Foss is saying, your gift and your approach to the game, serious minded approach, but being able to talk about all your flaws and vulnerabilities. You watch a lot of these podcasts or different talks, and don't mean they don't tell some of those stories, but the people ain't really going to their weaknesses and their vulnerabilities. Jazz just jump right into the, like, cannonball into the shit, you know. I mean, he ain't tippy toe into it.
I just keep it real though. Like that's just
I
me
love
being
it.
real. Like that's the reality of my situation. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat. I'm not gonna be delusional about this. Like I know in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to this basketball world, like I'm not very good. So why would I feel any other way? I gotta get better. I want to get better because I recognize that, bro, in the world, if we're talking the whole world, let alone your city, state, country, whatever, if we're talking the whole world, you just gotta realize, bro, you're really not that good. So go get better. You know, it's simple. Pops always said, keep it simple, stupid.
Kiss.
Kiss.
Yeah.
Love it. I love
Simplicity.
it. Well, Jazz, tell me this, just kind of as we're talking some of that stuff and things that, man, the game's kind of taught you. Man, what's the toughest lesson that basketball's taught you?
Toughest lesson is, I mean, again, cliche, but life ain't fair. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just this game. Like I've always known, like this game does not love you. The game will never love you. You gotta love it. And if you give your full love to it, you still may get nothing out of it. But I mean, that's life. You know what I'm saying? You can't feel that it's unfair or whatever. You chose to go for a passion or whatever. You choose to love something. It's up to you to make something out of it. You know, that's anything in life.
Is there a time you could think of where, like, man, a game kind of gave you a short end of the stick or something, that, like, man, I really thought it was going to turn out this different direction, and fuck, I'm sitting here empty-handed with it.
Yeah, really.
There's two times I can think of off the top of my head. When I was at University of Portland my sophomore year, going into that transfer time, or right before, I was going through a little slump of games. And I actually had a decent year that year, but I was going through a slump, and it was at a really bad time, like nearing the end of the year before like conference tournament play. And at this point, like I already knew, like, okay, like I know I got to go out there and play for at least for like each game is kind of like tryouts. You know what I'm saying? Because like I knew I was transferring, so it was like, okay, well I got to go out there and do something. And I had that really bad stretch of games, and I ended up finishing the conference tournament really well. I had like 28 on St. Mary's in my last game, like 20 against San Diego or something. And then we ended up losing and we was out. So those were my last two games. So I'm thankful for that. But going into that summer, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like, well, I'm going to University of Portland right now. Yeah, I did cool, but we lost. I think we won like 6 games that year. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't know what's next. I don't know how I can get better from this. You know what I'm saying? And so that was one point where I was really questioning, like, okay, like how am I going to do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, how much better do I have to be to make this happen? Because obviously, I'm realizing that there's truly levels to this. It's one thing to be at University of Portland, but it's another thing to even be in the Mountain West, or to even be, let alone the Power 5 schools. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I recognized there's truly levels, and I was kind of questioning, like, okay, how much more better can I get to be on these levels? And then the second one was actually coming out of college because of COVID. That's when I graduated. I graduated in the COVID year, and so Yeah, a lot of people don't even recognize like the whole thing for hoopers, all the seniors, like people don't recognize how hard that was for us because like for me, like I think we still had a chance to get a bid into the tournament or let alone play in the NIT. So that was still more opportunities for me to. I'm a senior. I need every opportunity possible to keep proving myself. So once those were cut off, my last game was 16 points against Wyoming in a loss. And it's COVID year, basketball literally shut down. And once it started getting going again, and I'm recognizing the way my season ended, and agents start to talking, and it's like that's when I was really questioning, like, damn, is this when it's done? And it's not has nothing to do with me, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, is it even worth me playing? Because the way some of them were talking, it was like, oh, you might get 1,000 a month, 1,500 a month, and a lot of people would take that, a lot of people would take that, but me, I took school serious. I'm not so much into basketball that like I'm just a dummy to everything else. You know what I'm saying? So I knew like, okay, if all those fails, I know I can go get me a good job. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm well connected with people. I have my education, and I could apply my hard work to the job life. You know, and that's really like had a lot of nights of just like staying up late, like just like, bro, what is going to happen? And then the market randomly opened up, bro. I promise you, I must have signed with an agent. I didn't have an agent the whole time. I was just speaking to agents. I didn't have an agent the whole time. I had nobody really representing me in the market. They was just telling me about the market and what they thought someone like me could get. I must have signed my agent like July, I want to say 20th or something like that, really late in the summer. And 3 days later, he came with the offer in First Division Italy. And I guess that was God telling me, like, he put me through all that mental strain and all that for me to just, okay, I'm gonna lock in, because that whole COVID summer or spring summer, we didn't stop. We were outside. Whatever kids, we had a little street that Pops would train. We'd go on the street, they would go run hills. Pops got all the apparatuses, so we got the bands, all that stuff. We was outside doing ball handling uphill. I was running a lot, as I do now. I was running a ton. I was just doing literally anything, doing like anything. Like, bro, I'd get bored and start working on my jumper on the little Nerf hoop that we would have outside with the little mini ball, and that because there's nothing else to do. But yeah, I mean, those was the two times I was like, I don't know what's next with this. So, and to fix it all, I just worked and hoped that it would work out.
Man, I remember the videos. Y'all was in the garage and the driveway and on the street and doing all type of shit. And this is also how I started deep diving the thought, like, what's the most important things in basketball? And COVID offered me an opportunity to really deep dive this, because just like you said, here you are playing at the top level of college basketball, and you're about to play professional basketball, and the only training things that you can do is some random shit outside, and you can't work on your basketball game, but you could watch film or watch basketball and talk basketball. So to me, the two most important things in basketball is conditioning and basketball IQ. And that got proved during pandemic, because you couldn't go, well, nah, I was working on my bag. Nobody could work on their bag unless you was just dribbling outside. They was putting things on baskets and stuff.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to baskets.
Yeah. No, that was a crazy time. Like you couldn't, like there was no going to the park to go up the hoop. No, there was literally, I mean, if you was here in Oregon, we couldn't do nothing. We couldn't anything to do with sports. I mean, we would even go up to Dunaway Park, and just us even doing the social distancing and being 6 feet from each other, and we working out together, people would still call the police and try to make it a big thing. Like it was hard. It was really hard, but I mean, we all loved it, and Pops loved it enough to deal with that and to continue helping us. Because at the end of the day, all these problems are coming back to him, and he got to figure out something new now. And he always found a way, and so I appreciate him for that, especially during that time, because I needed it a lot. I don't even know if he
Leland is
know it
definitely
like that, but
solution
I
based.
needed that a lot during that time.
A
What
lot
were
of
you
young.
saying though?
I just said Leland is definitely solution based.
Yeah, yeah. All the rest don't matter. Is it gonna get done?
Oh, that's why I love him, man. Man, Jazz, we can keep you here forever, but this is off the hook, man. Like, you know, nothing soon, but maybe like once you get into season or something, maybe talk about your process there or something. But this is way more than what I anticipated. And I even thought it was going to be great from there, just because you opening up and being yourself, man. And like, you know, some people get on here and be trying to, hey, yeah, well, you know what I was trying to. It's like, man, just be yourself. And you've been authentically yourself, but that's always who you are, man. So, and if there's anything I can do to help you with your basketball stuff, I know Pop's got all that stuff, but like, I just have such a high level of respect for you, man. Like, you got access to me whenever.
That's love. I appreciate that, Beno. Yeah, and I mean, I'm a, you know, like I'm gonna be real. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm Leland saying, so you know what I'm saying. That's gonna be me, but I just know like this game ain't like easy. Like at least for me, it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? So it just to me sometimes it kills me to watch other people do it and they approach it as like, oh, this is easy, or this is whatever. And it's like the way I approach it is like, bro, this is what I got, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like even the kids I work out with, you know what I'm saying? Like I work out with sixth graders and stuff. They'll be in the gym with me, but I hold them accountable. Like, bro, take this serious. You know, like if you're gonna do it, take it serious because like there's people out there that this is all they have. So, and I've recognized that early, really early.
Maturity.
For sure. No, and you can see how your approach to it and your formulas, man, it's changed your life.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the work sure as hell isn't easy, but I think you're showing like the formula doesn't have to be overcomplicated. Work
No,
work more. If you don't have the answer to it, work till you find one.
yeah, literally, yeah. That's all it is. It's hard, but it's simple. It's weird, you know. So I don't know.
Dichotomy.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of this game. That's the beauty of this game. So
Yeah.
that's why I love it.
Your story's powerful, Jazz. And a lot of people are guaranteed when they start watching this, man. I know we're gonna be getting feedback just from already know how I feel.
I appreciate that. No, I mean, if I could do anything for anybody, I hope I could inspire them because I didn't do it the easiest way. Like you just got to put in the work. You know, if I can inspire you to work towards whatever you do, that's all I could ask for. I don't really want nothing else out of this. And when I say this, I mean like not the podcast, but the game. You know what I'm saying? That's all I want out the game.
Nah, for sure, man. Well, Jazz, we appreciate it, man. Appreciate you taking the time to jump on with us, man. Like Bean said, it's powerful. I think it has an opportunity to be able to impact a lot of people. Like you said earlier, for you to be able to tell your story, one that maybe they haven't heard before, but man, somebody might be living right now. Like this might be the same path that they're on. They just they don't have the answers. They don't have the resources to be able to figure it out. And I think just, a lot of the stuff that you shared tonight might lead them in the direction where, man, okay, well, this is how I get to where I need to go. So, no, man,
Yeah.
appreciate you a ton for jumping on with us.
No, it's love, and we could for sure get on here because I mean, there's so much more to it too. You know what I'm saying? But I love to get back on here and chop it up with you guys. You know, it's always love, man.
All man. Make sure you tell Leland, man, I said what's cracking, man. We need to connect soon.
I got you.
Yeah, appreciate you, Jazzy.
Yep. Hey, man, love y'all, man. Be
Yeah,
safe
love
out
you
there,
too,
for real.
man. For real, you too, big dogs.
If you like this episode of Let's Talk Hoops, make sure to follow, subscribe, and share to keep the conversation going.